Bennet to go before him because Senator Bennet has another time commitment. Senator Bennet.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you very much to my colleague from Vermont for letting me jump in line just for a moment. So I really appreciate it. Chief, I apologize. I missed some of the earlier testimony. I wanted to go back to something you said. Your authorized force is going to be 2,200. You think if the
FY24 budget's approved,
and you're up to 2,000 now, so you're 200 or so short at this point. And how big are your academy classes?
they generally run around 24, 25 officers.
And how often do they run?
Nearly every month.
So how long do you I mean, if you're able to fill those classes, how long do you think it's going to take you to be able to get to that authorized force?
You know, realistically, we seem to, in the last few years, we've seemed to get about 100 head of attrition each year. So to get 200 would be 2 years. That's my guess.
And what in a long far away place, I was the chief of staff to a mayor of Denver whose name was John Hickenlooper. I don't know whatever happened to that guy, but he. And I can remember, in the work that we did there are challenges when you're building a police department. Sometimes poor management before you means you've got a lot of attrition and you can't find the people you need. Sometimes there are too many. You've got a long lag in hiring because of budget things. You are in a very interesting position, I think, in part because people saw both the events of January 6th, but also heard how uncompetitive the pay was at some point, how poorly budgeted this was. Obviously, we've made a lot of progress, but I wonder if you could use this opportunity to tell us what you're telling people who are thinking about whether they ought to try to join the Capitol Police Force. What is your recruiting pitch about why they should come and how they should think about the bad news that maybe, hopefully, is in the rearview mirror?
Well, there are a lot of ways to serve your country, but this is one of the finest ways to serve your country by serving with the Capitol Police. And people truly get a front row seat to history. And this is not, I've worked and grew up in 2 other police departments,
right.
and that were very different from this police department. And there are a lot of folks that this kind of job, the protection part of it, the service to their country, being in this historic campus, it appeals to them. And I think we've been blessed to have no trouble getting people to apply.
And do you think, and you mentioned earlier, I just want to underscore for people that might be listening that the compensation now is competitive in ways that it wasn't before.
Absolutely. An officer, the day they step out of the academy, is making $74,000 a year. That's pretty good.
Do you, Mr. McFarland, I wonder, do you have anything that you'd like to add on the questions about mental health, in particular the services that we're providing or that you're providing in support of the Chief's mission here?
Sure. So at the request of certain members, I've actually reached out to Ms. Libengood personally to talk to her exactly what she thought the mission should be. I think there was a disconnect in the beginning of what the Wellness Center, what she envisioned and what the Wellness Center kind of envisioned. But I think together, by having these discussions, I think we've gotten it on the right track. And I'm fully supportive of the chief and how it's been working out so far. So
you didn't. I heard the chief's numbers in terms of people that had asked to. Those sounded a little bit lower than I might have expected, given everything that we've been confronting. And I wonder if you have any reaction.
No, I think 16 people right now for starting and out is adequate. I'd like to see the numbers go higher, but I think it's trying to find out a good baseline of where we are right now.
Okay. And I just have 30 seconds left, so that's lucky for you, Ms. Gibson, because I was going to come to you with a question, but let me make an observation. When people come from Colorado, I think it's really important for them to feel like these buildings are accessible to them. And there are entrances that have been closed, some of it after January 6th. Some of it, I think, goes back to the sequester, the budget stuff several years ago. The one that drives me craziest is the second floor of the Russell Building, where, that entrance says, in huge block letters, "Entrance closed," which for many people is their first view of their building, of the place that they're supposed to be able to have access. And I wonder if there's a plan to think about reopening some of those entrances now that we're in the position that we're in today, and in particular that one.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that feedback. That's something we'll work with the department. We've prioritized the doors that would open based on their growing numbers, and certainly that's one that we can look at where it falls in the broader scheme of continuing to man posts as the department grows larger.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Griffith is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief Manger, I appreciate your candor and willingness to answer questions earlier this